advanced knowledge well. And so it is about interpreting poetry. And so, great. And so I have decided to choose a poem from a very old literary figure, which is Richard Eberhard. And I chose his poem called For a Lamb. Yes, exactly, a lamb. So just to tell everyone, a lamb is basically a very young sheep. Okay, so now, if you're not, let's begin.
Yeah.
But before that, I would like someone to read the poem out for me in a few seconds. So, are there any volunteers? Perhaps Akil or Adib? Or...
Ilham, can you try?
Yeah.
It's okay. Yeah, just.
You right? Alright, Ilham, I choose you.
Read the poem.
Yes, alright. In 3, 2, 1.
I saw on the slant hill a portrait lamb, propped with daisies. The sleep looked deep, the face nuts in the green pillow, but the guts were out for cross to eat. Where's the lamb? Who's tender play? Said all for the mood breezes. Say he's in the wine somewhere. Say there's lamb in the daisies.
Alright, so thank you very much, Ilham. Alright, so before I continue, let's give a round of applause for Ilham.
Good. Good.
Alright, so I will repeat with the poem. I saw on the slant hill a putrid lamb, propped with daisies. The sleep looked deep. The face nudged in the green pillow, but the guts were out for crows to eat. Where's the lamb, whose tender plaint set all for the mute breezes? Say he is in the wind somewhere. Say, there's a lamb in the daisies. So first of all, I would like to question everyone in the future classroom. What kind of poem is this? Is it an escape poem or is it an interpretive poem?
It's a poem.
Alright, it is a poem. But which of the which? The high or the low? Which one? Is it an escape poetry or is it an interpretive poetry?
I say the latter.
The latter. Alright. So you are correct. But however, the first option is also correct. So this poem can be taken as literally or figuratively. And if we were to take this poem literally, it will be an escape poem, which is used for the purpose of entertaining, storytelling, and last but not least, just to drive us away from the reality of today's harsh world. And secondly, if we were to take this as a figurative and interpretive poem, we will be able to applicate this kind of escape poem into our daily lives. So let's just say, with interpretive poetry in this one, we will be able to apply the values and perhaps whatever lessons that this poem has in store for us. Now, let's see what exactly does Mr. Richard Eberhard had in store for us in For a Lamb. Now, what is the interpretive meaning? Now, pay attention to me. You may pay attention to this slide as well, but however, sorry, you won't get as much info. This is an enhancer, alright? So now, I shall begin. Now, a lamb. So now, what exactly is the significance of the lamb inside this poem? First of all, the lamb is supposed to signify and symbolize innocence. So now, can someone tell me what is innocence?
Definitely not me.
Oh, believe me, you are miles away, kilometers away from innocence.
Thank you.
Right, so what is innocence? Could someone please tell me? Perhaps distinguished Toastmaster Azmi?
Yes. Innocence means free from having ill thoughts.
Yes, that is correct. And so, the lamb here symbolizes innocence. So the lamb itself is innocent in a world nowadays where people are killing lambs. Where lambs, what are they doing? They're just living life. And so, back to the interpretive meaning here. So what we want to know from the poem is, what is the significance of the lamb? And last but not least, like, what is the significance of the lamb, the daisies? And what is this green pillow? What is the tender plain? What is the mute breezes for? And why are the lambs inside the daisies? Now, what are the daisies for exactly? So like the lamb, the daisies itself also represents innocence. So they are basically one of the parties in a world where it is like a citizen in a war-torn country. So like, if I were to say, humans themselves, let's take students for example, students of SDAR. We are like the daisies, we are like the lamb in SDAR. And SDAR is basically the world here, and we are just living in it. And as we know, life is temporary, and therefore this is the significance of the daisies and the lamb. Because later on in stanza 2, say, there is a lamb in the daisies. This shows that the lamb is already dead. This was also proven in the first stanza when it says that, but the guts were out for the crows to eat. And now, since I talked about lambs and daisies being symbolizing innocence, now what about the crows here? Now, let's return back to the photos here. So now, what is the crow supposed to symbolize?
Evil.
Yes, the crow is supposed to symbolize evil, the exact opposite of innocence. I mean, since the crow itself is supposed to be the opposite of innocence, of course, it's going to be an element that hates innocence. Therefore, when the guts of the lamb are out for the crows to eat, therefore, it shows that the crows are the ones who are disrupting the peace, disrupting the innocence, turning the lamb into putrid nothingness. Oh, speaking of putrid, what is the meaning of putrid? Alright,
Smell of decay.
Yes, putrid is the smell of decay, the state of rot. And so by the state of rot, it means the lamb is dead and is currently lying on the slant hill, and its face nudged against the green pillow, so its face is nudged against the grass. And now let's take another example. If we were to turn this lamb into human, and perhaps this crow into something that's anti-human perhaps, we could also symbolize the crow as death. Because what life will death not claim? And what end is not for the start? And now, over here you can see that there is a cross on this lamb. And by a cross I do not mean a Christian cross, but a red huge cross. It means no. No as in no more lamb anymore.
No lamb allowed.
Yes, but well, the lamb is allowed, but there's no more lamb here. I'm so sorry. Okay, and so when there's no more lamb here, it means that the lamb is no longer here. The lamb is no longer alive in the world. The lamb is now putrid in a state of rot, now out for the crows to eat. And now, this is what happens. The lamb starts to decay and rots into the ground. It turns into nutrients and fertilizer for the daisies. And this is what it means when Richard Eberhard had written, say, there's a lamb in the daisies. Now, the lesson here is basically, nature is destructive, but it is beautiful. I mean, take a look back at the poem. I saw a slant hill, a putrid lamb, propped with daisies, the sleep looked deep. The face nudged in the green pillow, but the guts were out for the crows to eat. Where's the lamb, whose tender plaint sent all for the mute breezes? Say, he is in the wind somewhere. Say, there's a lamb in the daisies. And so we can see from here, this is the chronology. This is the story of a lamb who turned into daisies. Now, let us continue. Like, how exactly can we applicate this poem, the value of nature is destructive, but it is beautiful, in our lives? So first of all, I've talked to you on that the sheep the lamb and the daisy symbolize innocence, and the crow symbolizes evil and darkness. And there's also imagery which Mr. Richard Everhart had used in order to convey the message of nature's beauty and destructive nature itself. I mean, it's nature. That is nature's nature. Get it? And as for the cadence, the flow of the story, the flow of the poem itself.
Cadence.
The cadence. The cadence of the poem itself, it shows a process from life to death and back to life. And so, like, what exactly can we learn from this poem? Now, perhaps I should ask Nugget. What can we learn from this poem?
Nature is destructive and beautiful means it's the cycle of truth. Either you like it or not, it just goes on.
Yeah. Yes, and that is the literal meaning of the poem. Despite death, life still goes on. The world keeps spinning. The earth is still alive. The river keeps flowing. The ebb and flow is still a thing. And so nature is destructive, but it is beautiful. But so is the life of humans. Like humans, some of us are innocent, but some of us are also evil. Some of us become the lamb, but some of us also become the crow. But despite all that, we are still living, we are still alive, and life still goes on. The same goes when our late parents die, we are still alive, and we are continuing life. And now, I believe I have reached the end of this lesson. So now, are there any questions to be asked by any members of the future classroom?
Me.
Yes, Chelsea.
So in the poem itself, the lamb's guts, Mr. Taufik, they are building a bit on science and biology. If you think about rot, the lamb is still young, it shouldn't die just like that. There has to be something that kills it. If you're talking about spilled guts, before rotting, the guts inside decay first, then it becomes nitrogen gas. Nitrogen and also other gases. So the question still stands, what killed the lamb? It couldn't be crude.
Now that's exactly what this poem is trying to convey. We don't know what killed the lamb. In the same fact, when humans ourselves, who killed the man? And therefore, but we never know what happened to him, but the fact remains that the lamb is dead, and that the lamb has its guts spilled out for the crows to eat. And therefore, like, with one death, another remains, and another benefits. Perhaps you may call it a Roman holiday, where you gain benefit from others' demise, from others' misery. Or maybe that is just the Dutchians nowadays. Like, we see our friends being hit with a rating by the wardens, yet we are able to run away and hide in the comfort of our dorms at 1 a.m. in the morning. We see our friends being hit by the rating by the warden of Sir Irwan, and yet we are still able to run away back to our dorm, back to our places of hiding in comfort. In the comfort of the AC of
In the
air conditioning room.
laptops, the PC.
If I may suggest, maybe the boosters?
What's that?
Yeah, exactly. What is that? It's your favorite, I think.
Heaven.
And so,
I have a question.
yes,
You talk about metaphors. So the crow is a metaphor for evil.
yes.
But is evil really evil? Because you need the crow to eat the lamb, the dead lamb, in order for the lamb to be transformed into Daisy. So is evil evil? Is the crow evil? Or is just a process? Which is
a life
neutral.
process.
Huh?
It is a life process in literal meaning.
So is it evil or not?
But in the
Or is
term,
it neutral?
in a term,
Uh,
a crow is considered an impurity, and as we know, like even even by some beliefs, people believe that crows are a bad sign, and
So
some
you're saying
people
that it
believe
is
that
evil.
yes,
but without the crow, then the lamb will not be transformed into daisies.
oh sorry, that's not really how it works, because we don't know what killed the lamb, but the lamb itself was already open and exposed to the open air, and therefore, even without the crow eating the guts of the lambs, those guts may still rot and turn into nutrients to the ground. And therefore, a crow is supposed to show that a party can benefit from the downfall of another. Alright, so I suppose
Okay.
any more? Alright, so with that, thank you very much.